It seems really busy on the roads. Again, you'd think it's perfectly normal right now. Although from reading the news, they said they extended that CERB benefit, like here in Canada, which is supposed to pay people $2,000 a month if they can't find work or they basically can't work for whatever reason. So it's kind of interesting seeing that going through. It makes you wonder again when things will actually go back to normal. Although there's supposed to be a little stipulation, like it's just draft, but it says if it goes through, a draft bill placed conditions on CERB payments requiring recipients to actively look for work and to not turn down reasonable work opportunities. That legislation did not pass, but Trudeau said today the government will find ways to encourage people to work when they are able. It's kind of like a tricky situation if you think about it. What happens if it is like an industry where it's just completely collapsed and it won't recover? Like one thing I was reading actually was with people in the airline industry. They said it won't recover for months or maybe even years. So in that sense, if they're going on this, are you saying they should try to find like, I guess like aviation or whatever related work in other places if they can? Or are you saying in that case, well, I guess because that industry is dead, time to work something else? Like for example, I don't know, like a restaurant or a grocery store. Again, such an interesting time to see later on when it's all over, whether or not we did it the right way, if we overreacted and so forth. I know during these times too, where they're telling people to stay at home, maintain your distance and all that, and with the protests, a lot of people are upset because here you have these humongous crowd gatherings and apparently that's okay, I guess you could say, like in the authorities' mind, whereas a lot of people say if they can do that, then why can't they just go about on their regular life as well? It actually was interesting in that sense because remember that protest that I documented? Well, apparently there were people who went there, like reporters at nighttime, and they were actually getting harassed by them, like the protesters, which was kind of interesting. They didn't want them to be documented. Like this one, for this reporter, it says, "I am a strong supporter of the right to peaceful protest and freedom of speech, but I'm also an advocate for free, open, and transparent press. It's disappointing that out of thousands of respectful and peaceful protesters, this was my experience at the viaduct last night." So that was basically that bridge area that I filmed. And yeah, I just thought this was interesting because it seems so contradicting in terms of, I guess, this particular person of why they didn't want the media person there. And they actually called the person racist, which is a little interesting point I'll get back to a bit.
I don't know why you're being so confrontational.
I'm not being confrontational. And the fact that you said that is racist. You are...
How am I being racist? I'm literally just doing my job. I'm staying out of the way. I'm staying back and keeping...
Okay, but saying I'm confrontational, I'm literally standing up for my black friends who are organizing this and indigenous friends.
And I respect that. But
so don't say I'm confrontational, because I am a woman of color, that you're inciting that I am aggressive, and I'm not.
I'm not inciting anything.
So don't say I'm confrontational, because I'm not.
You're confronting me.
Because I'm telling you what the fuck is happening, and they don't want media around. And you're not understanding. You're being anti-black and anti-indigenous. I'm
not doing anything. I'm just doing my job.
No, you're not.
From the street.
I'm telling you, they don't want media here.
Okay. I respect what you have to say. You also have to respect that I have a job to do and I'm on public property.
You're a stupid bitch. I hope you know that. Because you're not respecting what indigenous people and black people who are organizing this fucking protest want.
So from watching the video, it seemed like the whole situation was about a reporter just trying to document, I guess, the area during the nighttime to see if they were still there, because apparently they went all night. And the guy came up to her, being confrontational, I guess you could say, that's what she mentioned, and then because of that, it seemed like he implied her saying that makes her racist. And then they got into all this debate about how, I guess, they don't want to be photographed and so forth, but then she's saying she's part of the media, that's her job. And then her argument afterwards is true, like it's a public space, it should be her rights to document it. And I suppose the guy kind of realized in his mind it's true, and he basically gave her a derogatory comment afterwards. And you can see online, she was still getting like a lot of backlash from people, I guess from the protesters. It says here, as a white passing person working for corporate media, you are completely out of line demanding that protesters respect that you have a job to do, when the organizers explicitly stated over and over that there would be no engagement with the press. And then this was the twister, I guess, to reply to that response. This person says, not that this should matter because all people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but just so you have all the facts straight, I'm actually a proud Japanese Canadian. Awkward. Generally speaking, here the rules should be if you're in a public space, there's no expectation of privacy. So if a reporter was there documenting the event, they have every right to do so. Unless it's something, for example, you're in a bathroom, in the toilet or whatever, and then a person goes in there where you have expectation of privacy, then they can't do that. To me, it is a little confusing actually, because I thought the whole point of those protests is to bring attention and awareness where you want as much, I guess, coverage and attention as possible. The only other perspective I read on why they wouldn't want this is because if their identities were revealed, then afterwards they could get in trouble, people would go after them and so forth. I know a lot of people find it hard to believe still because it is the year 2020, but even a person like me deals with racism all the time. But to say this guy's racist and so forth more as a weapon to say, I guess, silence them or force your views or wishes that way, in my opinion, that's not the right way to do it. I mean, racism, prejudice, hate and all that can come in any form. Doesn't matter what color the person is. I mean, just an example with all this COVID-19 stuff, look at all the racism and stuff there are against Asian people. Like right now, the focus is on the blacks, for example, just because of what happened, which is perfectly understandable. I just remember as well, like when this virus came out, those viral videos of like, even people like spraying Asians in the subway or something like that because they feared every Asian had like the disease. Like just an example where there's no limit in terms of that, I guess you could say, mentality. And for this today, I read that the police, it says here, was seeking information in relations to a drone stolen from Charlottetown residents. And they basically showed you everything. It looked like it was a Mavic Pro. It actually made me wonder, since this is a DJI drone, if the guy actually took flight, wouldn't he be able to log into his account, I guess, and to see the activity? I still remember that story about the one where somebody stole like an Autel drone. They took it for a flight and they recorded themselves and all that, and they were able to track the guy down afterwards. But I guess in terms of things like tracking drones, this was kind of interesting to read. It says, Altitude Angel and Inmarsat to offer air traffic management for unmanned aerial vehicles. It says Altitude Angel, the world's leading UTM technology provider, and Inmarsat, the world leader in global mobile satellite communications, today announced a collaboration to develop and deliver advanced flight tracking and management capability of unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly known as drones. The two companies will build on Altitude Angel's Guardian UTM platform to jointly develop a pop-up UTM capability that can be deployed anywhere it is required to manage beyond visual line of sight UAV flights without the need for ground-based communication infrastructure. By utilizing Inmarsat's sector-leading global network of satellites and leveraging a substantial experience in air traffic management communications, Altitude Angel pop-up UTM can be accessed rapidly and deployed worldwide. That kind of made me think too, because in terms of flying beyond visual line of sight, and let's just say delivering, I don't know, medicine or anything, I would imagine in the future a lot of it would be autonomous. So imagine you have something like this, a system to track the drone, it'll do everything for you. What would be the need for someone to, I guess, understand all that stuff about flying a drone and all that if everything's done autonomously in that sense? I guess as an example, let's pretend in the future all cars are going to be autonomous. If you want to get somewhere, you type it on your app or something like that, it'll come here, drop you off, you're done. Like there, would the person need a driver's license just to hop into an autonomous vehicle like that? So it makes me wonder again, like with the drones. So if someone wants to fly it autonomously, let's say in this case beyond visual line of sight, they're letting the computer or whatever do everything. Should they require like a license, I guess you could say, to do that? Giving animals cookies and stuff. I don't think that's a good idea. Although funny enough, noticed they didn't want to eat it. They just came up to me afterwards. Why is there cops everywhere? Okay, I think the reason for all the police because this is a drone in the air. It's like some operation. I can hear it buzzing. Yeah, there it is. Look how fast it is for me to identify it. What kind that is? Do you know what brand it is?
I don't know.
Is it for a movie or is it for like medical?
Sorry?
Is it for a movie or something or?
No, not exactly. Hey sir, excuse me.
It just makes it sound so comedic in a sad way, like spending millions and millions in that Gatwick trying to find a quote drone when there's nothing there, and here like an average person can hear it, bring out the thermal camera, there it is right away. Plus it was just floating there too. And the guy said it wasn't for a film, secret government usage. Alright, see you guys later.